So you own a service business and you don't want the business to be dependent on you, but you have a massive headache that is virtually impossible to solve. And everybody has this headache. And that number one headache is hiring. I'm going to talk to you today about something you can do that I previously did that worked for me to solve our hiring problem in my specialty trades business. So currently you probably have your job openings, maybe you're running them constantly, but you probably take applicants from Indeed, maybe Glassdoor, you have people call up, you have them fill out applications, maybe you have them come in. I've spoken to business owners that that's what they do. And you kind of do it based on requirements, but also gut feel and just being able to see people quickly. So a different way to do this to get better result. And the reason I'm able to tell you this is because I did it and it worked. I had to hire 25 tradespeople to meet the requirements of a contract that my business was awarded. And I was able to pull from, the people that I had, but I needed to literally add another 25 people in order to meet this requirement and have this government contract be successful. So this is what we did. Okay, and this is going to sound different, but it works. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to create an ideal candidate profile. And it's just going to be something you or your office manager or your general manager, you type out or you write out on a notepad. And you want to know what your ideal candidate looks like for each position. So just as you wouldn't be able to work for every single client that calls your business, you don't want a catch-all. And you don't want things in your ads or in the person that you're looking for that really aren't relevant to that position, okay? So ideal candidate profile, you're going to want to create that. If you would like the form itself, you can send me a message or comment in the video and I'll send it to you. But you build that out. So let's say I needed a welder, right? Did he need to have certain certifications? How many years of experience did I need him to have? What type of leadership skills does he need to have? Does he need to be able to work long hours? Does he have to be comfortable in the heat? Because we did ship repair. So, does he need to be able to, be in tight spaces? Things like that. And that you must include that when you write it out, because many times you'll hire somebody because they show up and then they end up not being a fit. So this will help with that. Ideal candidate profile. The next thing you have to do is create a sourcing strategy. So a sourcing strategy is another, just write it down on one page, but where is this person? Once you have the kind of the persona and the idea of who you want to hire, where are they? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Like if it's a project manager, they're going to be on LinkedIn, right? Or they're going to be maybe they're going to be on YouTube. If they're an apprentice, I don't know, I'm not a young person, but where are they hanging out? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? They could be, if they are a project manager, they could be on X. Just figuring out where people are online and in person. And then that's when you build out your sourcing strategy, you are figuring out where you're going to find them, where you're going to speak to them. So that's something that it doesn't have to be super formal, you just jot it down, but it will all start to come together once you go through these steps. So ideal candidate profile, sourcing strategy. The next thing is when you do your sourcing strategy, when you think about it, like where am I going to find these people? I want you to flip it. Instead of saying I need them to have all these skills and all these things, which you do, also think about what you're offering. So one of the things that smaller businesses have to offer is more personalized interaction with management, the owners, and you can do more mentoring. So are you a really big company? Well, no, probably not. I mean, I think this speaks more to the small business owner because that's who I am and that's what I did in my trades business. But if you're a larger company, you're going to have probably just more benefits but be less personalized. I mean, and that's what small businesses have to offer. So think about the business. What's it like? Is it chaotic? Are they going to have to be able to, deal with flip-flopping on jobs? Do you schedule them ahead of time, or will they know their schedule in the morning? Things that they need to know so that as they think about the position, they can think about it in terms of what it's really going to be like, not what you pretend it's like we're a family. And maybe you're a family business. I didn't run my business that way. But give them the pros, the cons, but try to think about what you're going to do for them. It's really important. And if you can start thinking about some additional in this labor market, right? What are you going to do? So that's where I was going. If you can start thinking about what can you actually do for them? Can you start to give people more one-on-one meetings? Maybe even before you, as you're going through this process, speak to the people that are on your team and ask them what's good, what's bad, what could we do better? And maybe what could we do better is something that you could put in place for these new hires. And this will make your advertising and your outreach better. So the next thing to do, sourcing strategy, think about the company, and then you start to write your ads, because you've got your ideal candidate profile, you've written down your sourcing strategy. So let's just say that you're going to find them on LinkedIn and Indeed. They're a project manager. So you're going to write your ads based on that. Now, you have AI that can help you with this, right? So if you're using Claude or if you're using ChatGPT, feed this information into it, but whatever you get back, make it your own. I don't want you to just copy and paste, because everybody is seeing that slop right now and nobody's buying it. And just as I'm making this video, parts of it may be a bit of a drag for you because I'm umming and erring. It's me, right? These are my thoughts. This is genuinely what I know. And I think when people work for apply for your company, they deserve to hear from you, real words, and just, side issue on that. But do put it into AI, get the help that you need to write the ads so that they appeal to the ideal candidate, because you can actually feed in the ideal candidate that you created and say, hey, help me find this person. How do I speak to them? What would be good for them? And you can use your AI to do that research. Next thing that you are going to do, and I don't know if you're going to like this or not, but my God, it works a treat. So you've got your ads, you put them out in the places where your ideal candidate is, and you then set up a Zoom event, and you have what's called a hiring event. And when they apply to your position, you say, that's great, thank you for coming. Maybe have them answer like 3 or 4 questions to make sure that they are some type of fit. You don't want to go any further through this process if somebody is working at the local Starbucks. 3 or 4 questions to pre-screen, that's fine, and then invite them to the Zoom event. So you have that set up, you have it on a set date, and this is what you're going to do. You are going to host a Zoom event. I'm not sure, maybe you're probably not doing them with your company, but during COVID, people did these things more. So you're going to host a Zoom event, right? Your applicants are coming in, you're just pre-qualifying them by them answering a few questions. Great. And this way you can take in a wide variety of candidates, but they're going to come to the registered Zoom event. And for that event, you're going to task it to one of your admins or your office manager or your GM. And you're going to say, I need you to put together a PowerPoint about the company, about the position, about the business, about the role. And you or somebody on your team, instead of you just screening people, you're going to get online for an hour. I usually did them, either 6 to 7 p.m. during the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday were good days. Or I did them on Saturday mornings I would do like 9 to 10 was usually the best time, because any later than that and people were distracted, and any earlier, and it's Saturday, they're trying to relax. So you go online, you host the Zoom, you tell them all about the business, you tell them all about the position, and then at the end of the 45 minutes, it's an hour, but at the end of the 45 minutes, you ask them, anybody have any questions? And they will ask questions, and you'll answer them, of course. But the benefit to this is you will be able to see everybody. You will see who showed up with their camera on, who showed up on time, how they asked a question, how they interacted. And then at the end, you will obviously be making notes, so you'll have an AI making notes for you. At the end, you will say, okay, if anybody would like to have a 10 to 15 minute phone interview after this, I'm going to stay online. I'm going to be available. You can just put a message in the chat, and I'll book you on a time. Put your number, but it has to be private. But put a message in the chat, and you will have their contact details. And then you coordinate with them for the hour following the Zoom. And I mean, because usually that's about how many people we would get. We would maybe get 10 people sign up, and I would say like 6 to 8 would come. And then, you just take that next hour, you have your 3 to 5 questions scheduled or laid out ahead of time, and you ask them, the first question you ask them is, what is it about, what in this presentation stood out to you? And see what they say and document that, because it's going to tell you if they were paying attention. Okay, so you do those short interviews immediately afterwards, and then you say, okay, fantastic, we're going to be in touch with you. Hang up. Now you're done. You've just seen 8 people in probably 2 hours, or an hour with the Zoom presentation. And normally, how long would that take you? Well, it would take you 8 hours, right? Half of them wouldn't show up, or you'd maybe end up hiring the person that did show up. And then from there, what you'll do is you'll review all the notes, you'll put the packets together, or have your admin or your HR person put the packets together, resume, notes, interview notes, and you'll decide who you want to interview and in person. And then it's such a streamlined process that you will also be able to let the people know, hey, that you don't want to interview. You didn't make it through this round, but please keep an eye out for other positions and feel free to apply again. And you keep those people in your database. This way, you're not just leaning completely on Indeed and its automated process. So this did work for me. If you have any questions, or if you would like for me to send you some information, I'm happy to. My name is Colette Kemp, and my mission is to help business owners especially trades business owners, have businesses that are less owner dependent. And this is one of the key things. If you can get this right, my notes right there, you will be well on your way to having a business that doesn't depend on you.